Hello everyone, in this lesson we're going to look at if statements in C#. We're going to look at the simple syntax of an if statement and then we're going to add it into our sample program. So let's go ahead and get started. So what are if statements? If statements are used to implement conditional logic in a program. If a particular condition is evaluated to be true, then one set of code will execute in your program. If the statement does not evaluate to be true, then a different set of code will be executed. To write an if statement in C#, the syntax is very simple. It starts off with an if statement that has the condition to be evaluated in parentheses. Then, separated by curly braces is the code block that will be executed if the condition is true. The else statement then triggers the beginning of the code block for the condition to operate if the condition is false. So for the example for this lesson, we're going to add a short if statement to our main method to determine if the user has actually entered her name or not. And this will be done by looking at the length of the string that was entered. We'll see the example on the next slide. If you look at the following code and look at the arrow, you'll see the new code that we're going to add to our main method. In this code, we're going to add a short if statement to check the length of the string that was entered for my name and see if it's 0. If it's 0, we're going to write out a message that said you did not enter your name. Otherwise, we're going to write, thank you for entering your name. This is a very simple example of an if statement, but is typical of how they're used in C# programs. So next, we'll go ahead and see what this looks like in Visual Studio. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and make a copy of our directory as we did in the last lesson. I'll copy chapter 7 and paste it, and now I'll just rename it chapter 8. So now that I have chapter 8 under our Visual Studio projects directory, I'll go ahead and open the solution, and that way we won't make any changes to our program that was already working from the last lesson. We'll be working on a new copy. So I'll go ahead and open it. It takes just a few seconds for Visual Studio to open it up, and then I'll open up the program file. And we're going to add in our code right after our write line statement that prints out our name. And so you'll notice then we have an if block and an else block, and in the first part of the if block right up here we're going to check to see if the string length is 0 and print out you did not enter your name. Otherwise we're going to print out thank you for entering your name. So let's go ahead and run this. So I won't enter in anything, and you notice it now prints out the message you did not enter your name. And we'll test it now for entering a name as well to make sure that that works okay. So I'll go ahead and type in my name here. And notice that we get the right message. So quick and easy, pretty simple way to add an if statement. We're going to continue to add to this, but I'll save everything for right now and go ahead and exit Visual Studio. In summary, if statements implement conditional logic and are one of the most commonly used statements in C# or any other programming language for that matter. We'll be using them in other areas of our sample program as we expand its use throughout the rest of this class. I've also included a link to the Microsoft documentation on if statements, which is the reference page for further reading. That really is it for this lesson. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.